Hey, what is going on, everyone? Welcome to our PAX Online panel of uncovering Black women's voices in esports. I'm REDinFamy. I have also on the panel Junae, Benne, Aziza Brown, and Professor Highkick. So all these wonderful women that's in esports, we definitely have a very important topic to discuss. But just to start off, I'm gonna start with you, Junae. Uh, Pretty much like give us your journey as far as like how did you get into esports?
Oh man, so it started when I was born. No, I'm just joking. So what happened was I was really into journalism, and how I got into journalism is literally cartoons. I'm talking about Kent Rappin from The Simpsons, Kermit the Frog, Spider-Man, Superman with like Lois Lane, and Spider-Man being a photojournalist. So I really got into journalism that way. Fast forward, I had internships at Comcast Sportsnet before it was NBC Sports at NBC, and I learned that my skin is not thick enough for real news. So I transitioned into video games. Then I kind of transitioned into video game journalism when Gamergate was going on, and that wasn't a very pleasant experience for me. And because I love sports so much, I was like, why not do esports? And that's pretty much how I got into it. And there's a lot of people to thank along the way. The community that I ended up building in Colorado was extremely great. It started with the fighting game community, and I would do fighting game tournaments as well as like esports tournaments, mostly like Madden, 2K, and things like that. So that's my journey.
Right, and we got Aziza Brown. Aziza Brown, you're CEO of Dynamik Focus. Let us know your journey. You do have your own esports team, so let us know your journey as far as like how you got into gaming and what came about for you to want to own an esports organization.
So my journey into gaming was pretty much my parents. Like my parents are gamers themselves. My mother has a gaming computer, and she currently is playing and swearing up and down as a senior citizen, playing uh, not that much just shooters anymore because of her reactions, but like puzzle games and stuff like that. But yeah, like my journey through gaming was basically I grew up in New York in the bodega arcade culture where you can just pop quarters into a machine and play, and I was a casual at that time. Went to college, came back and learned that there was an actual like I thought that Evo was like an invitational that you had to go to. I didn't know that you can just walk, you could just get up and go to Evo at one point in time. I didn't know there's more tournaments around. So later on after college, when I became an engineer and stuff like that, we learned about an underground New York scene after the arcades have closed. So there were like different bars that you could go to and play video games and stuff like that. And then afterwards, I learned about ECT, and we went to ECT with my best friend who was competitive at the time. I
East
wasn't
Coast
competitive
Throwdown.
because I was, hmm,
I said
yeah,
East Coast
yeah,
Throwdown.
East Coast Throwdown, yes. So I went with her, and I was like kind of her cheerleader, and then then I started getting into esports and everything like that. I was on another team as a project manager, and then I left the team and just kind of segmented off because of differences. And I created Dynamic Focus because I used to shoot um, photography. I have a Sony camera, and I usually shoot in Dynamic Focus. So that's how the name came to be.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I
Whoa.
didn't know that, and
I
I've
like
known you
that.
for some years
I
now. I
like
didn't even
that.
know that.
Yeah, that's why the bird has a shutter eye, because of the
Mm.
fact that like I was I'm still a photographer, I just need a new camera.
Okay.
Yeah, my camera's kind of busted, but with COVID and stuff like that, I don't really need another camera until it
Get out
come.
and about again. And
Yeah, I'm looking at the 7,000 series right now, and I'm just like, yeah, I really want one.
yeah, money. And Professor High Kick, of course, we know you as a player as well, but also as a well-renowned, I'm going to say well-renowned caster, especially in Tekken and other scenes as well too. So let us know how you got the name Professor High Kick as well. And your journey of venturing off from gaming from young all the way up into making this a profession and leading your own esports community.
Okay. Well, I got the name Professor High Kick. Oh, can you hear me?
You good?
Yes, we got you.
Okay. I sound so low in my headphones. Like I'm like,
That's the
can y'all hear me? Okay. Well, I got the name. I got the name Professor High Kick because my first move made is always a high kick. So, and as a kid, I used to always tell people what to do with video games. I learned not to do that because people don't appreciate that as much. But
you that
I used to
backseat
play
gamer.
when I
That's
was about 5
Professor
years old.
Backseat Gamer.
I'm not trying to tell you suck or nothing like that. It's just, maybe if you did this or maybe if you did that, then I learned, you know what? Let me not do that at all. Let me just play the game. If you lose, you lose. You win, you win. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I've been playing since I was 5 years old and then after I had my son, I stopped. But I did radio for a little while, and I actually like doing radio. But the radio show that I worked for went down, so I stopped for a little while. And then I was introduced to Tekken 7. I was playing Tekken for years, but I stopped, and then I started playing Tekken 7, and I said I want to compete in this. I just didn't know where to begin, so I started online, and I competed in an online tournament. I forgot the name of the online tournament, but I wanted to continue. And then I heard of NLBC, and I went to NLBC on my birthday, September 13th. That was 3 years ago, and from then on, I said, you know what, I'm gonna compete, and I'm gonna keep competing at NLBC. So we went through in New York. We went through a time where we didn't have Tekken.
Yeah.
So then Health came along. That was like 2 years ago. Then Health came along. Then we started going to iFix for Tekken tournaments again offline, and that's where I got my start. Actually, with commentary, it was a small place, and then I think about 6 to 8 months later, that closed down, and then he went to NLBC, and everything started taking off from there. I did not expect to be on commentary as much as I did at NLBC. So I appreciate Health for that. And during this time, I was with Kick Punch Block as well, and I met
Kick
Aziza
Punch.
as
Shouts out
well.
to them.
Kick Punch Block.
Yeah.
Kick
Yes.
Punch Block. Shouts out to
Yes.
them.
Without them, I would have never met Aziza. So I'm grateful for that.
I love how everything kind of like branched and we kind of got to know one another as well. So this is really an important topic as far as like a lot of times, not even a lot of times, all the time in esports, us as Black women, our voices get muted. We're not thought about, we're not considered. It's like we're not even there. And if so, it's always either the same personality of someone always get picked over and over again instead of them actually seeing the huge amount of input that Black women have provided to this industry, from executive seats to, of course, owners to like Junae and I, who are journalists and media personalities in this space, players, athletes like you, and owners of communities. So this is something that really needs to be said. What inspired this a lot, Cuddlecore on Twitter, she mentioned how, a lot of Black women that are pro athletes in the fighting game community, like, just doesn't get considered at all, doesn't get spoken upon. And I was like, that is true. We all need to do some type of signal boost to meet one another, to know who is who and what other people are doing. So just to further the discussion, like as far as being a Black woman in esports, I would start off with the positive. Which have been something that's been pretty much positive in this space that lets you continue against all those adversities of, okay, well, no one wants to listen to us or pay attention to us. What kept y'all in this space to this day? Because y'all are vets, you know what I'm saying? So what kept y'all in this space?
It's you guys.
Thank you. Yeah, I was gonna say same thing.
You guys a lot. Thank you. It's having the support of being Black men it, or like, I know that this is difficult for you, or like, it's gonna be worth it. And not to get super off topic, I just finished watching I May Destroy You, and she said something really interesting. No spoilers, of course. But she was like, do I even know what it's like to be a woman? I've been so busy being black and poor all of my life, and now it's like there's things, and it's just pretty interesting to have other people who are like, other black women who have had adversity outside of this space and then come into the space and be like, this should be easy. This is people's hobby. This is turning into a business. This part should be easy for us. We shouldn't have to battle like everything else out in the world. And that's just not true. Everything we go through outside of the gaming industry, outside of video games, everything we go through, even trying to enjoy our hobbies, is difficult. And having other Black women who understand that, and having other Black men who don't understand but can acknowledge that there are difficulties, and to have everyone come together and pretty much be like, "Man, I understand what you're saying, but I also support you."
And Aziza, you wanted to shed light on that too, like especially building and creating a esports team. You don't really get to hear that a lot as far as Black women actually owning a esports team, and if so, a lot of women, like we was mentioning offhand, why not even want to come forward and say that this is actually owned by a Black woman? Like, you've been the face of your organization. How has it been, like, building it from the ground up and staying in this industry over all like BS that comes about with it?
I'm gonna say it like flat out. It sucks. The truth of the matter is that the reason why I came out as a Black woman owner is because at one point in time I just said I won't be visible unless I'm unique. And that was a decision I made for my team members because of the fact that like there's so much like that I need to say to people to understand that what I go through as a team owner and how I'm structuring this thing for my team members, because a lot of times we sit down there and we watch how people move and how like we need as a people that if your friends or your colleagues are doing something or they're working a certain way and it's positive and it's good for your scene, you should definitely acknowledge them on any platform because your voice is stronger than you actually really think about it. And this is the reason why we're getting into trouble right now, or not getting into trouble, or not getting the businesses that we want to get, is because a lot of times we are not vocal unless we think that it's like for clout or anything like that. Yeah, businesses are basically definitely looking at your reach and your likes and everything like that, and the support that we need to actually give each other is to talk about each other in a positive light. Whenever you see a positive light, you have to retweet it. You see my board full of people doing stuff all the time. Like that's what my Twitter feed is all about, because I'm just like, I'm noticing this problem.
Yeah.
That we don't talk about each other. You know?
Yeah, it's something that it should just come as second nature. That's why even with myself, I was like, anybody that's in esports that is a Black woman, because I think we get, and this is a topic all the time, we always fail to always say people of color when we know damn well what we're trying to say or want to say, which is Black women or brown women. Like, we always want to do the people of color. There's other people of color that are taken care of and not like marginalized at all compared to the Black woman. So Professor, like, how have you also, like, they always say this is a men's game, especially when we play and especially in the fighting game community, and that's something I really wanted to touch on too. How have you stayed afloat and like stood out all the drama, especially being a commentator, because you're on the forefront for that scene. You know, you'll become like the face of that scene because they'll see you commentating on, you know, whatever specific game, primarily Tekken. Of course, we don't see sometimes it's been a lot of Koreans playing Tekken, or it's been this, you know, type of people playing Tekken besides just the American scene. But as a Black woman, as a commentator for Tekken, how has been like your experience?
I'm here, Grandma. Look at me.
You drowned out in the end.
Look at me.
Oh, how has it been for you as far as like staying as a commentator? Because I'm pretty sure, like in the fighting game community, especially in the Tekken scene alone, being a commentator, a Black woman at that.
Hold on.
I can still hear you.
Okay.
Oh, no, we understand. We understand completely.
We understand. I still hear you, sis.
Well, as far as the drama goes and so forth, like I tend to ignore that. You can't answer everybody. You can't really
Okay,
trying to figure out the right words to say. You can't answer to everybody because people want to stir up drama. But as far as being a Black woman afloat, I mean, you just got to keep going. You know, like I said, these women inspire me, but it inspired me in itself that there aren't many Black women out there, and I hope that maybe I or anybody else that sees me will want to commentate as well. You know, because I've seen women at ladies' night, some Black women at ladies' night that say, "Well, I want to commentate too," and they'll ask me for advice. And if they can get further than I can, then so be it. You know, I would love to. I would love to see them do it. I'll encourage it. You know, I retweet them, I tweet them, everything else. You know, they inspire me and I inspire them. And empowerment would be key. So, you know, we can all empower each other, and it's not a race. You know,
Thank you.
I want everybody to succeed.
No, it's not a race.
I think that's one of the things, especially as like forming a sisterhood, like to just counter and have something to answer that, is that a lot of times because we face so much adversity, we think that, okay, let's say if I seen Junae, right, and she got 2 panels lined up, and she also is hosting, let's say, a show. I'm like, well, damn. People will be like, well, damn, I think I gotta do 5 times. No, like
exactly. I'll put you on to something. That's how that works.
Yeah, like
collaborate.
Like, if you feel that you're being behind this, we already feel like we behind this ceiling. You know, they always talk about the glass ceiling with women. We got a gate. Say like, forget shattering a glass. Like we have to cut through a gate. And it's like, okay, a wall. We need a sledgehammer, all of that. So like, if I see one of y'all doing something, I'm like, yo, I'm retweeting the mess out of it. I want to know. I want to speak to y'all at that. I think a lot of times things gets a little weird when people just don't introduce themselves as a whole, and it's not a race. Like we all need to we have. Like I think that's something that's missing is and people want to take offense to that, and I'm looking at them like, well, your whole organization spelled that out. So why are you getting upset that you want to make sure that so and so is doing what they need to do or what they need? You know, a lot of times, and for example, Gary V is someone that I'm like, yo, he really gets it. And the reason why I'm mentioning him is because he'll give some advice to somebody and he didn't get paid for it, but that person later on might need him for something else. You know what I'm saying? Like, just because of that. And that's something that a lot of times, and that's why I was like, I want to find people that we don't get to see that much, you know, be on something. And this is going to, of course, extend. But yeah, it's not a race at all. Like we just need to definitely uplift one another and find out, okay, if there's something missing, what's that missing piece that you feel that you don't have and you're insecure about? Well, here's an open door. You know, you can hit me up on Twitter. That's why I did that. I'm like, I'm on Twitter. You can hit me up. You need advice for something. I don't mind taking time out, sitting down and just saying like fixing your crown. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know that you're still a queen. So
Right.
I think
Right.
definitely that's something that needs to be. Another thing I wanted to ask y'all
I think
about.
so too.
Oh,
Oh,
go ahead. Go
can I add
ahead.
on?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think people think something about I've heard a lot where women that be supposed to oh yeah, I don't want her to take my spot, and it's like that's not what this is. I don't know if you are doing what you have to do. No one's gonna quote unquote take your spot, but you can always help somebody out. You
Yeah.
know, I don't see what the problem in that is. But oh, she's gonna take my spot. Oh, I'm not gonna be number one anymore. Who's really wants to be number one? You know, we
Himself,
all can
right?
be one.
Yeah.
Right.
We
We
all
all
be,
can do that.
and we
Yeah.
all can eat, because the thing is that the more people that are in the pool, the bigger the pool becomes, actually. That's the
Exactly.
problem. People think that like if I'm the one that everyone goes to, then then I will get all the benefits. I'm like, no, you're actually making a funnel that goes through you only. So all these opportunities are just kind of in the air, not being given out because you want to be that, and you can't do it alone. It's an international business now for worth billions of dollars. There's no way you can be the
Right.
one that controls everything. Being a supervillain
If
is
you are only
not
one
a
person.
thing, you know? It's like this can't be a monopoly. You know?
We see that
That's
all the
the deal.
time.
We see it all the time.
I want to be the only black woman or only black dude. So, and I'm like, how do you think that's so? You want to be the token of like and gatekeep from other opportunities that people that look like you or someone that's younger than you that's like,
Yeah.
wow, I think I could do that too because I've seen such and such do that. Have y'all ever had like people come up to y'all? I remember a professor you just said like in your community too, that you have with ladies night, like I want to commentate. Has anyone ever come up to y'all as another sister and was like, yo, you really inspire me, and like, and have y'all given them advice?
Yeah. Yep. A lot. Even where I've come to some of the girls in ladies' night and asked for advice. You know, it's not just a one-way street. And like I said, we're all there to empower. Like even at NLBC, I've had women come to me and ask me for advice, and I've even done it to some of the women. In particular, Spag. I commentated with Spag at NLBC, and a woman came up to me and said, "I like the way you commentate. Like I was listening to you. Do you have any advice for me?" And I said, "Sure." There was at DTN. I saw one of the women commentators there, and I asked her for advice. You know, like I said, it's not a one-way street. It's a two-way street. Not even a two-way street. You know, it's if people need advice, you know, you can give it. It doesn't matter who you are, where you stand, or your role, or anything like that. You know, everybody's gonna need advice somewhere down the line. Inspiration, empowerment, anything. You know, we all gonna need it eventually.
Facts. So
I know I need a lot.
I always need it. I'm like, yo, I'm still in this. Am I still in this? Like, so
That'd be me.
I understand a lot of times. So another thing I wanted to shed light to, as far as like, of course, the obvious of who we are and what, has there ever been any doubt? Like, okay, you'll see this one as far as like with esports, and a lot of times, I think forgot the organization was saying as if like 1% had identified as like African American or Black female in the gaming industry as far as developers. Like, has there anything that like have y'all seen those different statistics and was like, how is that 1%? And kind of been like, nah, I need the signal boost a little bit more. Has it ever come across like that?
Yeah, for sure. You're wondering because when it's 1%, you more than likely be like, oh, that's all three of those people that I know, you know, and then that makes you sad. So, and on top of that, you also don't feel like you're doing your research because I feel like if we And we do it all the time where we tag people in these Twitter things like, oh, I know 10 girls who do this. I know 10. Like we can easily name 20 people. You know what I mean? And that's probably from like one state or like one region or something like that. And so when they have 1%, it makes me definitely want to do more. Two, it also makes me feel like that they're once again not even including us in data. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like it's a two-sided thing where it's like I do believe that it's that small compared to how many like white men or white women are into it. But then you're like, but I feel like I know more than 1%. You know, I feel like there's more than 1% just off the people that I know.
For me, like it depends on what the statistic is actually showing or anything like that, because sometimes when they say, well, as a developer they are counting people who've developed the game already, or they're not counting the indies or anything like that, so we don't know what the statistic really is, because I've known a lot of people who a lot of women who are out there, and then some places like even the modifiers aren't acknowledged. And just today with the Sims community, where all these black modders and all these black they're programmers just got acknowledged, and now EA is actually changing their game to what the modders have actually, created. And when they made the statement, they didn't acknowledge the fact that these modders are the ones that gave them the inspiration to do it.
Shouts out to Ebony Sims.
Ebony Sims and X Mirror Mirror.
Mirror.
Yeah, and X Mirror.
I mean, and X Mirror Mirror was on
I saw
TV.
that.
Like, how can you not acknowledge this woman? You know?
She was on a whole season on TV, 12 episodes, and y'all didn't
Yes.
acknowledge her then. And she's been doing this for what, almost 10 years.
Yeah.
Like, and you didn't acknowledge it. Like, you saw that. Y'all saw
yeah,
that.
I
'Cause
saw.
I even had
we
her
all
on
saw
the
it. Like, that's the
screen.
reason why
No,
Signal
I'm
boosted.
talking about everybody else. Like, even in the
Yeah.
stream, like they even had on her Twitch streams and stuff for The Sims, but she still didn't get any recognition for that. That was really messed up.
Yeah. So that's the reason why, like, we have to acknowledge each other, because
Yes.
they're not going to do it for us unless we speak up, because the power of our voices is so amazing, but we don't understand it yet. And we have to start understanding the power of our voice, trying to push the positive message that we are out there and we are changing the world right now. And we need to, like, I'm sorry, but I just like remember now we have the Netflix show of the person who actually created console gaming. The engineer that came out creating consoles, now getting acknowledged after 9 years after his death.
Yep.
You know.
I wanted him to be King because he has the same name as my granddad. I was like, relax.
Sure, but yeah.
But yeah, the Godfather of consoles.
Yeah.
And it was so strange because recently, I think it's the inventors, the Hall of Fame inventors, and I was like, so why isn't he in the Hall of Fame? And they mentioned how, like, they were speaking about Bear and everyone else. I was like, why isn't he in the Hall of Fame yet? And they was like,
yeah.
you actually, and someone explained it to me, and that's going to be a call to action. Is to actually, you can actually go on their website and nominate. It's the people nominating who they want to be in the actual Hall of Fame. So that definitely should be done for sure. As far as the inventors, there's been so many different black inventors, especially a lot of black women who created all kind of things that is current now.
Yeah.
From the GPS system. And I was like, what? You know what I'm saying? But that's like something that always needs to be done. And just like some people that's behind, even in the industry we're in, and I was like, I had no idea, no clue, because it's just not amplified in the signal boost. Like, especially now because of unfortunate circumstances of our brothers and sisters losing their lives to
Yes.
corrupt authority like in our nation, that it comes
Right.
to the point that we have to signal boost as far, like I was saying, keep that same energy
Yes.
like as far as supporting one another. That's where it
Right.
starts first, is having that foundation of supporting one another. It's very simple, very simple to do. It's support. All right,
Very.
Aziza says she needs blase blah. If I can help in any sense, because people think by supporting is just by some type of monetary like figure, and I'm like, doesn't have to do anything with money. Like, you might know someone and know someone
Right.
that can help someone, like just to get
Um,
there, because every other
like,
community does it, but we definitely, especially as Black women, on one of the topics definitely we want to speak about is how the protection of us is just not there, even in this industry alone. So um one of the things I wanted to segue to that, especially in the fighting game community, we've had the discussion on how there's Black women in the fighting game community, but not even their own Black male counterparts accept them unless they look a certain
Oh
way,
yeah.
or if that's like a trend alone. It's like, well, damn, if my own don't accept me, like what's going on? Like, can y'all shed light further on that disparity that's happening in the fighting game community? Because we have Fight for Change right now. Shouts out to that organization and Perfect Legend, where there's a lot of harassment that's happening, sexual assaults in esports
Mm-hmm.
alone. And a lot of times the topic of Black women being protected is just not there, or even accepted is not there. So do y'all mind like shedding light on that? Because a lot of people don't know that this is actually happening.
um, I
Yeah, and I
can.
kind of think it's sad that they don't know. Oops, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, Aziza.
Yeah, that's. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I kind.
Like, I mean,
It's all right.
the reason, though, what I wanted to shed, a person I wanted to shed light on who talked about it was actually the first woman who actually was sponsored by a fighting game, a fighting game organization, esports organization. That was Burn Your Bra. Like, she has in Event Hubs all these articles about how she was treated as a Black woman who wasn't aesthetically pleasing to everybody. So she was talking about how she was treated and how the fighting game community needs to change that horrible aesthetic that they do to us. That we have to actually point a finger at, like please stop doing this to us. Like, we're just, and Burn Your Bra was bad. She was great. She was
Yo,
amazing. I wish
she
I
was.
wish I met her. I know Q, but I don't
Yeah,
know.
no
I
I
cute.
wish
don't.
I
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it, like, all these, like, there have been founders of, like, the of women, Black women who are competitors who were literally drowned out by the fact that they were Black, they were women, and nobody tried to acknowledge them. You know, and it's sad.
Yeah, it's been happening for a while. I
And for
do
a
wanna
Yeah.
while,
I do wanna shout out Empire Arcadia as far as having Black women, like as far as having a their own sector for Black women in esports, whether it's with Guinness World Records. A lot of people don't know they're the most winningest esports like
yeah,
organization period,
yeah,
amongst
period.
all any, as far as any echoes, eve geniuses, all of that, they're the most winning. Is a Black owned organization. But
Right.
that's how I met Q, and through Triforce. So it is something I didn't like. While I was in the FGC scene for a short period of time, I would say. But when I seen it, I didn't see a lot of women that looked like me. But I did see the praise of Asian and white women, like always
Yeah,
Yeah.
being glorified,
yeah,
and the skills wasn't even up to
Yeah.
par like that. And of course, we already know from the situation at hand, from a player that is in the FGC, and he's of color himself. He's brown.
yeah.
Was explaining as far as like Black women are not great or good in fighting games, so they should just like wrap it up, you know. And then we have all these great Black women in esports and fighting games that will bust your ass in these games
Yes.
alone. So it is something that we even see from our Black and brown counterparts, like not even giving us the you know, as far as the confidence or wanting to help us or teach us, you know, whatever, guide us in any way, and just give us the respect. Nobody's
Yeah.
asking like for friendship. It's just being able to be comfortable sitting at a tournament alone without being like, well, you don't look like this anime character, so this character that's in the game,
Yeah.
so why
Or
should
yeah,
you exist?
you're not somebody that I find pleasing, so I'm just going to root against you. Like literally, like burn your brow with in articles. Burn your brow with like I'm sitting next to another player, another female player who is either is who's a different race than me, and people are shouting out
I remember that.
against me, and it was upsetting because it was like your own is actually like
They was trying
they're
to,
rooting
yeah.
against you,
And the fighting
you
game
know,
community is mostly predominantly
leave
Black
black
men,
men.
Yes.
Yeah,
and that was happening to her for no
yeah,
reason.
no reason, but the fact that they found the other woman cute and not her, and that's not fair at all, at all.
It just adds to the myth of like, oh, if you get good, you'll be respected, and that's not true.
It's not.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
It's
that's
you
not
bull
don't
true.
for me. That's
respect.
bull, period.
You don't
Look at
respect
Cuddlecore, for
women.
instance.
Yeah,
Yeah, look
Yeah.
at
exactly right.
Cuddlecore, for instance. Look at what she's accomplished. For how she's been in the FGC for 6 years, and she came pro, I think, a year ago. But she still goes through crap now. Like some of the stuff that the guys do to her, that the guys say and do to her, like is really ridiculous. And she
Mm,
can actually kick their behinds in tournament.
yeah.
She's even shown that over and over and over again. But instead, oh, she's not good. Oh yeah, she's only respected because it's in third. She's got proof that she can kick your ass in tournament. She's got proof on that stream. But y'all still sit there and say something else, you know?
Just
And
because.
it be a lot of Black men,
Yeah.
and it's ridiculous.
Now, of course, we've seen you know, that's one of the problems that's in the FGC alone, and not saying like this, like I mentioned in prior Arcadia, which of course is a Black owned by a Black man, and there's been other players as well too that don't tolerate that, but it's something that has to be signaled to stand up when it is happening. When you do see things like that happening to your fellow sister, okay,
Hmm.
like yo, you need to chill. Like, are you serious right now? Like that could have been your sister, that could have been your mother. Um, but even Junae, like as far as some of the things you've done as well on your end to kind of, because I think the one thing is like we could announce all these different things that a lot of people don't know about, but something that I had loved that you did was you created something, and also you two, all of y'all have created something that has been a safe haven for people that look like us but don't get the respect as it. How has that been an experience for you creating what you did back in Colorado, and also reporting on things as a journalist?
It was really cool at not at first, like, you know, and then it went down south, but it was really interesting because my issue is someone doesn't give me the chance, I do it by myself, right? And I was working, like for example, I was working at a radio station, and you know, it was like owned by a whole bunch of white people, but they wanted to like play a whole bunch of Black music, and for like whatever reason, I got fired from it, and then I was like, I'm gonna do my own radio station, and that's kind of what happened in video games as well. I didn't see a lot of people who looked like me. Um, and when I was in school, you know, everyone used to be like, dang, Junae, you a game head, you a game head. And I was like, I just want to play games. Like, y'all want to play? You know, they were only playing like certain things or whatever. And then I found other friends, but it wasn't like a lot of women that played with me. And even when I was in Colorado, I started to find more women, but like to me, it wasn't enough. You know what I mean? Like, the women to men ratio that I found was kind of like heartbreaking, because I'm like, I want to just talk to more women. I want to be around more women. Like, yeah, it's cool being around all these dudes. But when I got to be around more women, I felt like that's when I really got to shine, like doing game nights and stuff like that. And it wasn't always video game related. You know, we play like any type of cards, like whether it was spades or like Cards Against Humanity before we found out those people were trash. We would just play anything. And it was really exhilarating for me. It really made me feel like I had a tribe. I really enjoyed that, just having some people you can relate to. And even meeting other women who like respected the fact that I was into video games, but they weren't into video games. They were pretty uplifting as well. Like, on that journey because they liked what I was doing as well. And especially when I started doing stuff with after school programs with kids, they were like really into it. They're like, oh, I want you to be a part of like my summer camp because this is important. And then I found other Black women who were into STEM who were like, oh my gosh, we need more Black women that are into tech, into this, into that. And so it really kind of just started this trail of being like, let's not only support Black women that are in the space, but let's pull more in.
So Aziza, I know you have your organization as well. What has been something as far as like working along with other women or even other Black men as well that has created like a safe haven? Because a lot of times, even of course, us as women, Black women go through stuff in this industry, but even being accepted as someone Black in esports is also a problem. How has that been like as far as creating an organization and going against other orgs and being respected in the same sentence as organization?
Damn, can you repeat that? Okay.
I would say as if like having a safe space. A lot of times we don't have a safe space in esports. A lot of people think they don't, but besides just competing, just having something like an organization like you have, even though it's an esports team, it's also like a family. How
Yeah.
has that been like building that and still being a respected esports team? Because even though you're a family, y'all got stuff to win, against
Yeah.
these other teams. How has that been like building respect upon your organization in the same sentence like other
It's
people?
how I hire people, basically. All the men and women that I hire, they have shown themselves to be really hard workers, and to actually be a good competitor, you have to be on the grindstone like full time. Like, you can have a full time job and you have to be a full time gamer at the same time. You have to practice a lot and to be respected, and learning about conduct and learning about your branding, and developing all these characteristics in each and every one of my players is important. Also, hiring people that come to you, which is very important, and I'm trying to convey that message to more women, because I've seen a lot of Black women just go and say, I don't see any Black women being hired by other organizations. And I was like, have you applied? And there will be no response. And I'm like, this is the thing. Like, you have to put your name out there,
Yeah.
no matter what. Like, because the thing is that you talking on Twitter doesn't mean that anybody's looking at you. Like, you literally have to email people and to get yourself known. Like, I would hire more Black women if I knew who I was talking to, you
So
know?
y'all see this. Y'all see this now. All the ladies out there, all the melanated ladies out there, all the sisters out there that are apprehensive. That first step is just contacting somebody.
Contact somebody,
Contacting
understanding.
somebody, not being too shy. You behind a computer screen, so you should get some,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, like,
just hit somebody up.
yeah, that's the thing. Like, me emailing people, giving yourself a consistent base. And I don't mean like viewer base or anything like that. Giving yourself a consistent schedule so that you can draw upon it, so that they know that, because every single organization actually has hiring requirements, and just doing that will get you in the right direction when it comes to getting sponsored by an org or by a team or anything like that. They have a lot of standards, and they a lot of them, like me, I like to vocalize every single one of them. I'm not telling you how much I pay, because some people don't, and then, well, now I'm exposing myself that I do pay. Oh no. Anyway.
So the segue, so you don't expose yourself for the pay. But
Yeah.
Well, Professor, you have your organization, Ladies Night, which is very much needed in this community. Like building that sisterhood. I know that's one of the things I want to lead off with all of us. Is like building that sisterhood. Even if you don't know the other person, just be like, yo, what are you doing? How can I help? How did you build Ladies
Right.
Night to get the women in esports to kind of come along and be as one?
Ooh, that wasn't easy. Like, it took 3 times in order for it to actually happen. But I just, I invited a few of them into the chat at first because I happened to be to see them in tournament. I happened to see them on stream, and I just asked them if they wanted to join. I let them know. I let them know, and from then on, when I told them, like, safe space. This is a space to empower each other, and they started inviting people in. They liked the idea. Aziza was one of them. I asked her if she wanted to join. She said sure, and she even let the ladies know the first thing we should do is talk about each other positively.
Yes.
And then Sweet started going out about the other women, positively about the other women. Oh, she streams, she does this, she does that, and that's what we need. We need a signal boost. We need an empowering boost too, and that's what we needed. I even do it on Ladies Night Twitter page.
Definitely.
If you didn't know about her, you know about her now.
Now you know about her now.
So go follow her.
I love that.
Go follow her. Yep.
Shouts out to Pretty Love Pink. I wish I would have had her on this panel. Missing you, Hazel. Children get better. But just like in the 2K community, Ball Like Her is an organization where a lot of women in 2K was able to have some type of safe haven to go to. Just like when I had the pleasure and honor to interview Shakita, who was the very first woman, the very first Black woman at that, and only woman so far in a 2K league, was just explaining how it was hell, like getting even into the draft pool, because people didn't want to pass her the ball because they knew she was good. And I love that there's organizations where we all can grow in. One question I wanted to ask before we almost wrap it up: do y'all believe, for even women as a whole, and especially Black women, because of course we have some building to do, and it's not hard, of course, supporting one another to get our names out. That's the call to action. You see someone that's in the industry, and you're like, wow, we need more Black women voices to be heard. Tweet them like, yo, this is such and such. This is what she do. This is what she play. This is her Twitch. This is her YouTube. Like, that's a call to action for everyone to do. Whether you're Black or not, if you're a Black or whatever, you feel that our voices need to be heard, do that. Okay, that's the call to action right now to do. But do y'all feel that there needs to be a separate league between, okay, just like how traditional sports are, there's women's basketball and then there's men's basketball. Do y'all think that is something that is smart to do, as far as having a women's league to compete against and then venture off? Because it's like the numbers is really low, seeing female counterparts in esports compete against males.
I'm waiting for someone else to speak before I start speaking.
That's always a hard question. I left the
I'm
hard
not, and
question
it's
for the
an
end.
easy question though.
It is.
It really is an easy question.
On the fence about it because, like, think in games is not like everybody has different size hands. I mean, it's like fighting games specifically, or even PC games. So it's like there doesn't need to be a different league. Like I'm talking about basketball, where they're like, oh, the ball's smaller for women because they're blah 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 blah. So I'm on the fence about it because like we don't need to be separated. But then it's like I know that as a woman, sometimes I'd be like, I just want to be around my sis, and that's it. And so that's why I'm on the fence because it's a good idea because it's always nice to have things that are like set apart for us. But then I feel like it's a hard decision to make because it's like you wanna play with everyone else because I feel like regardless people are gonna have something to say. So if there's like a women's only league, like, oh, but you can't play with the big boys, and you're like, you sound dumb, you know. So there's always gonna be like somebody trying to say something about it. But like I'm like for it and I'm not for it. Like I'm for it as long as we get to like integrate the league everyone. But yeah. So I'm always on the fence. Like
So to wrap
Yeah, I'm
it
on
up
the fence
almost,
too.
how do you,
I'm on the
you on the fence
I'm
too?
on the Yeah, I'm on the fence too because it depends on who is sponsoring the league or who makes the league, you know, and for what reason. That's all. Like the whole thing of, oh yeah, you're separating the women, like Junae said. It's like separating the women from the men. It's like, no, that's not the point. It's like if like with Capcom, for instance, it was males making an all female league, and it's like, well, okay, I have questions, but at the same time, it's like I don't think this is intentionally for the for actual
Bro.
I think of the right word. I don't think it's necessarily for like entertainment or for them to get better, like you're claiming it is. That sounded like separation itself when they came out with Cap with that. But like I said, it depends on who it is. If it's for the women by the women, I can understand that, you know. But not saying not saying that the men that the men have an issue at, that the men might not have the same premises we do. It's just that I feel like for the most part, like women like us would do it better.
Got you. Just like how in battle rap, if y'all pay, how
Yeah,
they like
yeah.
the ring, and a lot of times they'll go against the other male leagues and stuff like that. So, Aziza, what you think?
Right.
because they use the B word, and they might throw out a fact or something for talking to a lady like that. But you never know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
For me, the answer is simple. Yes, there should be. And the reason why is because if you deal with competitors, you understand their anxieties, you understand their what they go through every single day just to compete. You're going in front of cameras, audiences, and everything like that, and you're sitting down there, compound with thinking about tech 24, trying to calm your nerves or ride the nerves to actually compete. Now, put that with being a woman, right? And then your audience is automatically against you because of your phenotype, like the way you look.
Yeah.
It compounds on top of that anxiety. That's the reason why, like, having a actual women's league would actually not to actually divide everybody, because that's what it's like, because every single person's like, oh, I can't get to this money because I want to get, like, no, this is not for you, it's for development. If you have a league that develops women because they have a space that eliminates your nonsense,
Yeah.
if it eliminates your nonsense and they can do whatever they need to do, yes, you should have it. That's it. I mean, we've done it wrong in the past because a lot of times with that was it a COD house or something like that, or Overwatch League, or whatever team they had full of women, and they made it a Foxy boxing kind of thing, and that's the reason why it actually left.
That's
But
sexualized.
yeah, so we had all these things compounding on top of us, and then we have to work through that again. Yes, there should be a league. because you need to find places to actually practice and calmly practice. That's the reason why you see successful women, because there was somebody there. There was not just one person, but a
Yeah, we see
group.
teams now. We see even like Rainbow Six teams, Valorant teams popping up
Teams,
versus
yeah,
all women.
on women or stuff
I
like
don't
that.
have a
And
problem with
I
it.
don't think, and also if there's a woman inside a team that is doing well, don't take her out. The reason why she's doing well is because of the synergy of that team. There's a lot of synergy happening in every single sport because they practice amongst each other. They learn tech, they learn everything together, and they communicate. And having somebody that communicates with you helps you grow. That's the reason why having ladies' night and everything like that, where everybody sits down there and practices together and grows together, you're gonna find more women who are competitive from this because they're sharing, they're communicating, and that's the reason why I say yes, because you need to develop more communication networks among women to feel to and lessen the pressure of women. It's like if I can lessen the pressure of racism, lessen the pressure of genderism, and any kind of isms out there for a competitor, because you have so much build up anxiety.
It's a lot. It's
Give
a lot.
let it happen.
A lot, yeah.
Let it happen.
So,
I
ladies,
think that's really interesting. I'm sorry.
oh, go
Yeah.
ahead,
Okay.
go ahead,
Yeah.
go ahead.
I think that's really interesting because I definitely agree with you. Removing one of the larger pressures for a league would be amazing. I think my next question is like, my next thought is like, okay, so then we're probably going to have to continue to break it down and compartmentalize it. Because
Yeah.
even like within that league, there's still going to be pressures. You know, we were talking about it earlier, how like some women don't support other women and things of that nature. And so I know for some people who have not had the camaraderie of sisterhood and stuff like that, may be
Yeah,
a
I think
bit
that's what it
apprehensive
is.
to it as well. But you know, overall, I do think it's a good idea, right? I
Right.
think, and everything you're saying is definitely true. It's just kind of sucks that like even we can't like 100% be behind things, because you know then it's like, oh well then we got to make our own because this person's making us feel uncomfortable, and it's not necessarily like, oh, this is a person who identifies as a man and he's harassing someone who identifies as a woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of things to take in. It's kind of like no right or wrong answer. It's just like how it's going to be organized and who's going to be doing the organization.
Yeah.
Right.
Part of it, which is interesting. But to leave off because we're almost there at the
Okay.
finish line. Um, as a whole, what do y'all think needs to be done, like to segue and build upon that sisterhood? What do y'all feel to end this off to make sure that our voices are always heard? Not that we're, because I'm not the one to beg anybody to hear me. Like you gonna hear me, and if you don't, then I got my sisters over here. You gonna hear all of us. Like that's how I
Pretty
think
much.
and move. So what do y'all think is the next step to make sure that that sisterhood is there and to inspire others to get in here and feel like they can do it too?
I specifically wrote a book of my experiences for this exact reason. And it's to encourage other women to get in, other Black women to get in. Black women, you know, is because I was Black before I was anything. Encourage like Black women to get into writing or get into tech or get into gaming. And so that's how I ended up coming up with the idea of being like, I want to share all of my knowledge. And you know, just tweeting about it isn't going to do it. You know, somebody may miss it or they may not, and then if you make a thread, it may get old. And so I ended up sharing my experiences to be like, hey, it's not easy, but here are some tools. Because I didn't have any tools to get to where I am. Everything I did, I winged it. Okay, you guys found me out. I'm a phony. I winged it. I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't have anybody really giving me anything. You know, it's, oh, if you try, oh, if you network, oh, but they didn't tell me how to relationships with devs. You know what I mean? How to apply for press passes, how to, well, interviewing people. I went to school for journalism, so that's a bit different. but you know how to get in contact with these people to like interview them, to talk about games, to talk to the players and things like that. So my encouragement is one, all of the things that I do, because I wrote my book and then I told anyone, I'm like, if you have any questions, just ask me. Like, I'm not going to be phony with you. Like, I done already gave you my information. So like, it's nothing for me to also give you my time and be like, look at these mistakes that I made. And you don't have to make those mistakes. So that's my encouragement, because that's always something I want to do. I want to be the liaison for Black women in tech, Black women in gaming, and things like that. I want to be able to have a directory of Black women that I could be like, oh, you need somebody who does this? Here she is. Here's this. Here's that. And my book was just, you know, a piece of that, of what I'm doing.
What about you?
Mostly the improvements is just like I'm just being more vocal right now because of the fact that like there is a disconnect that we have in esports and stuff like that, FGC, the nerd communities, that we are not vocal, and also we don't understand the power of our voices and how we can grow our communities without the help of a big corporation or anything like that. If we actually learn that word of mouth advertisement is the best advertisement ever, like you can't buy it, and it's also the strongest form of advertisement for anybody out there. So like if you see a friend or you see somebody like Junae that has a book out there, you're supposed to talk about it. You're supposed to say, oh, I'm retweeting this, I'm tweeting this, I'm liking this. Like she's out there bringing her story to light so that other people can learn from it. I think that there's a long way from actually, you know, it actually being the truth or something that everybody understands right now, because I've dealt with that even in my own team, like to remind people that you vocalizing yourself and mobilizing yourself is the way that all these other people are doing it, you know, by like you teach somebody that they have to go to instead of just going to your tournament and trying to see if somebody will give you something, that's not going to work out. You know, you need to go to conventions and to dev conventions and everything like that to actually grow yourself. You know, you have to go into different avenues. There's no single way to get to your promise, because there never was. Yeah, building relationships and communicating. Yeah.
Right.
I said my dream is to have, like, you know, how the hip hop community has, where they have communication networks. That at one point in time we have to have a communication network the way that they do. You know.
Yep. Professor, what's your take on it? I mean, you have Ladies' Night, which is that alone, and you know, an invitation for anyone that wants to come and join the board. What is your take on it?
I agree with Aziza. Like word of mouth, talking about everybody and so forth. That's what, like I said, that's what the ladies do on Ladies' Night. So that's what I do. My number one thing when I'm on the mic, I talk about the ladies. I talk about the ladies and Ladies' Night. You have to, and like I said, that's a form of empowerment, but also it gets everybody's name out there at the same time. So it's like you didn't know who those girls were, and if I talk about them on the mic, now you're gonna ask who that is. Exactly. Now you're gonna start to wonder. Oh, you can follow her on Twitter. You can follow her on Twitch. You can follow her anywhere. Oh, she's about to go compete tomorrow. She's gonna compete right now. Since you know about, since you're hearing about her now go ahead and watch her right now. I'm gonna commentate this match. So you know. So like seriously, word of mouth does help out a lot, and even the safe spaces, like you said before, that helps out too, because it all comes hand in hand. To be honest, it could all come hand in hand, and. My cheerleader in the back, excuse him.
Yeah, he's been running in and out of frame, and it's been the funniest thing. Like sometimes you see me just giggling.
Hey, that's the gaming mom right there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no.
And he wants to be seen.
He does.
But
doing?
I appreciate all of y'all, all of y'all stories, y'all voices. I'm so proud of y'all. I'm blessed to know y'all. Of course, y'all, of course, my sisters, and we got a lot of work to do,
Yeah.
even within our community. So definitely, everyone, please go check out Junae Benne, her work as well. Junae, is there any you want us to know where we can find you at? Drop it.
Everywhere. Yeah. If you Google my name, I really do pop up. You just have to know how to spell it. My book is called How to Become a Successful Video Game Journalist. Junae Benne is my name everywhere. Also, handle is like the Natural Hair Gamer. Not my handle, but like one of my aliases, the Natural Hair Gamer. So anything you want to know about me, you can head over to Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I have my link tree in the description. So if you want to know about like my merch, my book, what I got to say, you know, why I play so much, you know what I mean? You can just go learn all of that stuff on any one of my social media.
Aziza.
Hey. Okay, so you can find me, especially on Twitter, as ZZ Down. But for my organization, Dynamic Focus, it's Dynamic Focus almost everywhere. Like we have dynamicfocus.com too. So we do
Yes.
have a website. Very happy about that. And
I always get the K mixed up. Tell us.
yeah, you get the K's
Oh,
mixed. Okay.
it's right there on the hand. It's everywhere right now.
Yeah. It's because, well, it's backwards.
Now it's coming up
But the
correctly.
dynamic is
coming
or
up-
after is the dynamic
K.
has a K. Yeah, the dynamic has a K, and then the focus. But well, no, focus doesn't have a K. Focus C.
Okay.
But whatever. Exactly. Where else you can find me? Yeah. Also, I'm Googleable too. Like Aziza Brown is Googleable. You can find my articles out there. Anywhere that you Google or anything. Or
and if you
but
go to my
that's it.
website, you'll see an article about her because that's how well we're
Yes,
connected.
that's how we
Yeah,
connected too. I have an article
I wrote
with
one
Junae.
You'll see a podcast
Yeah, she's
with
in there too.
Yep.
And Professor, where can we find you at? We always see you, you know, commentated on the latest and hottest fighting games
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah, you mostly find me on Team Spooky when I commentate. But
Yes.
you can find me on Twitter at Taniesha James. Ladies Night, you can find them on Twitter. You can find us on Twitter too for Ladies Night. Ladies Night FC. And I'm Google, and you can Google me as well.
Yes.
Just Professor Highkick. You see a whole bunch of stuff come up.
Yes. And me and Professor
You can find me
Highkick
on
were
Twitch
on
as well.
a podcast for Spawn on Me, so that's
Yes.
also where you can find her.
Yes.
Me too.
And
Shouts out
also
to
on Polygon as well.
Yes.
on
Polygon
as
too.
well.
Yeah.
Shouts out to the Polygon article. So yeah, we need more stuff like that. I am REDinFamy. That's what I'm known for. But Tamika Moultrie is, the government. But REDinFamy, y'all can Google me as well too. Geek Game TYTE is actually my company that I founded, which is pretty much a signal boost to topics like this and just letting everyone know that Black and Brown in the gaming and geekdom space does exist. We're creators, we're founders, we're inventors, we play, we're athletes. So that is my outlet as well. And please be sure to follow these ladies. Thank you so much, Pax, for letting us host this incredible topic. I can't wait to do more as well. So everyone that's watching, thank you too for tuning in, and enjoy PAX Online.
Yes, enjoy PAX Online. Have a good one. Oops, almost.
Here we go. Hi, everyone. Thank you.
Have a good.
Bye.